Marcus Chen shuffled through the pristine corridors of the Galactic Defense Academy, his worn duffel bag slung over one shoulder. Around him, cadets from a dozen different species towered overhead, Korthak warriors, with their chitinous exoskeletons, gleaming under artificial suns, Valix nobles whose bioluminescent patterns pulsed with inherited military prowess, and Xanthari giants whose very footsteps shook the reinforced floors. At barely 5'6" and weighing less than most species' children, Marcus looked like a clerical error. Human. The admissions officer had squinted at his datapad months ago. We don't usually accept your kind. Physical requirements alone. I passed the entrance exam, Marcus had replied quietly. Now standing in formation hall with 3,000 other cadets, he wondered if passing had been worth it. The commandant, a scarred Korthak veteran, began the traditional address about honor, strength, and the defense of civilized space. Marcus barely listened. He was calculating. The Academy's failure rate, 67%. Average physical enhancement of non-human species compared to baseline. Human, 423%. His own advantages, none that showed up on any scanner. What the scanners couldn't detect was that Marcus Chen had spent his entire childhood learning to survive. Earth wasn't just humanity's homeworld. It was a death trap that had somehow spawned sentient life. Every other species in the galaxy had evolved on worlds that, by comparison, were paradise vacation resorts. Earth had gravity that crushed dreams, weather that killed without warning, predators that hunted in packs, diseases that jumped species, and natural disasters that could be measured on geological timescales. Humans didn't just survive Earth, they thrived on it. Then they left it and kept thriving everywhere else. But Marcus was still the weakest cadet at the Academy, and everyone knew it. The first month was brutal. While Korthak cadets shattered, training dummies with casual blows and Valix cadets calculated trajectory algorithms in their heads, Marcus scraped by with determination and borrowed study materials. He failed physical assessments. He placed last in combat simulations. Other cadets began referring to him as the human curiosity. Marcus absorbed every insult, cataloged every failure, and kept detailed notes on every species' capabilities, weaknesses, and behavioral patterns. The breakthrough came during a survival exercise on Kepler 442c, a moderate difficulty world that the Academy used for basic training. Most cadets formed teams along species lines, using their natural advantages to complete the objectives. Marcus went alone. While others relied on enhanced strength, natural armor, or energy manipulation, Marcus used something else, pure, distilled human stubbornness. He built shelter from materials that other species dismissed as useless. He found food sources in environments they considered barren. When a Xanthari team became trapped in a collapsing cave system, Marcus squeezed through gaps too small for their massive frames and guided them to safety using nothing but rope, leverage, and a complete disregard for his own safety. The rescue earned him grudging respect. The fact that he'd completed all objectives while saving others earned him attention from the instructors. Interesting approach, Cadet Chen, said Instructor Vexhai. Her serpentine form coiled in what passed for curiosity among her species. Your tactical assessment? Everyone else was trying to fight the planet, Marcus replied. Humans learned a long time ago that sometimes you have to work with what's trying to kill you. By the second year, Marcus had found his niche, not as the strongest or fastest, but as the one who saw solutions where others saw impossibility. He became the cadet. Others consulted when simulations seemed unsolvable. His tactical innovations, based on human military history that other species considered primitive, began revolutionizing Academy doctrine. The Siege of Thermopylae, the Battle of Agincourt, Stalingrad, Guadalcanal, small forces using terrain, psychology, and relentless determination to defeat superior numbers and technology. Humans are terrifying, a Korthak cadet confided to his squad mates after Marcus had designed a defense strategy that used the enemy's strengths against them. They don't just study war. They study losing wars and figure out how to win them anyway. Graduation day arrived with unprecedented fanfare. Marcus stood with the surviving 800 cadets, no longer the weakest among them, but something far more dangerous. The one they all listened to when things went wrong. Fleet. Admiral Korath himself presented the commissions. When he reached Marcus, the ancient Korthak warrior paused. "Cadet Chen," he rumbled, "your instructors have submitted unusual reports." Marcus remained at attention. "Sir, they claim you possess a tactical mind unlike any they've encountered, that you see patterns others miss, that you turn weakness into strength as naturally as breathing." The Admiral's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "Tell me, what do you see when you look at the galaxy's future?" Marcus considered the question seriously. Around him, representatives from dozens of species waited for his answer, some hopefully, others with barely concealed apprehension. "I see empires that have grown soft in their strength," he said finally. "Civilizations that have forgotten that survival isn't guaranteed. Enemies who mistake humanity's restraint for weakness." He met the Admiral's gaze steadily. "And I see humans who are just getting started." The Admiral's laugh was like grinding stone. "Indeed. Lieutenant Chen, you have your first assignment." 5 years later, enemy commanders across 3 Spiral arms would wake in cold sweats, whispering stories of the human tactician who turned their victories into defeats. Entire battle fleets would retreat, rather than face the strategies that emerged from what others still considered the weakest species in known space. Marcus Chen had entered the academy as a curiosity and a liability. He graduated as something much worse, a human with formal military training, detailed knowledge of every species' capabilities, and an entire galaxy to protect. The nightmares of empires, it turned out, were made of ordinary humans who simply refused to quit.